Hello everyone, welcome to Getting Our Pad Off. Well, today I'm inside the junk pile, for lack of better words. Actually, it's my tool shed, my saw shop, and everything else that gets thrown in here. And I'm sharpening chains. A few weeks ago I did a video on the Timber Tough chain sharper. Well, I'm doing another one today on a new machine. Just a second, I'll get the box. The new machine, well, is this Harbor Freight Chicago Electric chain sharpener. $26 if you have the coupon and catch it on sale. Well worth the money just by looking at it. I was thinking that it was going to be a joke. I've already sharpened one chain, took me about 10 minutes. And aside from setting up the machine and mounting it to the bench, 3 minutes. Adjusting my stops, my chain feet, rest and everything like that. And setting my angles. This machine is 1, quieter than the Timber Tough. 2, very, very easy and functional operations. It is a well thought out piece of equipment. However, in the future I have to pick up a wheel dresser, grinding wheel dresser, because I'm not liking the profile of what comes stock on the grinding wheel. I want a little bit more of a square grind. But needless to say, this machine is doing quite well. And here, I'll go through the functions of it real quick like this. Let me go ahead and throw that box out of the way, and I'll aim in on the machine. Okay, here it is, the Chicago Electric chain sharpener. It has a brake grip up here, which for a bicycle I'm calling it a brake grip because that's what it reminds me of. But what it is a chain lock. Go ahead and keep your chain inside the guides. It has a backstop to hold your link, your chain, your tooth, the back of your tooth in place. So when you pull down, you slide down gently and you graze into the chain grinding. Oh, I gotta back this up a little bit. And, okay, so it will drop right down into the chain and sharpen your chain. It has here another thumb screw that you use to set the depth of your cut to sharpen your chain. Now this chain has been rocked, and rocked hard. The whole leading edge, cutting edge of this tooth has been rounded over, as if somebody took it to a grinding wheel and just rounded back to make a safety chain out of it. Well, that's not what happened. It went ahead and went in, and the whole point is gone. I'll see if I can zoom you in on it real quick. If you look at this link here, you'll see that it's nice and rounded over. No point left over on it. Well, that is the way that worked out, from hitting nails or something and hitting a stone or whatever. It severely dulled this chain. Now, what I don't like about these automatic grinders is after you've ground all your teeth, you still have to go back and grind or file your raker depth. Now, I understand the reason why that is also. As you change the length of your tooth here, it drops back a little bit and drops back and drops back. It lowers and lowers and lowers, and pretty soon your tooth will be lower than your gauge. Okay, so you have to do it in 2 steps. Any way you look at it, it is a 2-step process. Will somebody come up with a system where you can do your tooth and your raker at the same time? I think they might even have it already, but I think it will be a little bit more of an expensive machine than $26 on sale with coupon, $44 without it. I also, when I bought this, bought an extra stone. I can run this machine 15, 20, 30 minutes, no issues, no shutdowns, no nothing. It works great. Right now, this is my second chain sharpening. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach up in back of the machine. I'm going to start the machine. You'll hear how quiet it is. Nice and quiet. You pull the chain brake. I like to keep my hand here to pull back a little bit of tension on the chain, but you just slightly come down. Dress your edge. Release. Forward 2 teeth. Pull back a little bit of tension. Grip. I wish this chain brake grip would extend to 3 teeth. That's the only major improvement I can see this really needing. Because what that would do is it would take 3 drive links and grip them on either side of the tooth that you're holding. Okay, instead of the first one. Let it grip all 3, and then you can come down and just grip it. Because here it'll lift the tooth a little bit. I'm not sure I like that. But overall, it is a great little machine. Now, Harbor Freight is well known for cheap tools, okay? And a lot of people will say that the tools are junk. By no means do I agree that this tool is junk. This tool is doing its job and it's giving me a nice grind. But I'm gonna have to go through this chain probably in 3 steps to get a nice sharp point back on its filing. I got it set right at about 29 degrees. For sharpening these teeth. I'm going to take this out of here real quick. I'm going to show you some. I'm going to show you how badly these teeth are. This is the reason I'm going over this chain a couple of times. Here's the tooth I just sharpened. Come back to, and where am I? This is the tooth that needs sharpening next. Okay, you'll notice that the very leading point of that cutter is severely rounded over. Come back to this one, and I am still slightly rounded over. So I will cut this chain probably 3 times, 2 to 3 times before I actually have that dressed. Everybody says, well, somebody might say, well, why aren't you just feeding it in tighter? Because I don't want to take the time of a long grind on a tooth, creating more heat than I need. Now, I'm going to put this back in, nice and simply. I'm keeping my fingers right where I was at because I want to know right where I was grinding at. Okay, sorry about the fidgety bit. This is the tooth I just ground. I'm going to advance to this next tooth. It is simply click, click, pull back. 1, 2, 3. Nice and simple. Turn the machine on, pull the grip, come down nice and easy. And advance. Grip it. Now to change teeth, or change from one side of the chain to the other, you reach underneath, you loosen, you rotate, and you lock it back in at your 30 degree or your 29 or whatever your angle is you prefer to sharpen. Grip. Sharpen. Yes, Chris?
Do you know what the Allen key is that you had?
I threw it back in the bottom drawer of that box.
Okay.
Alright. Now, one thing I just noticed. I wish this guide had an adjustment to slide in and out a little bit also. I'm going to show you why here in a second. When you are sharpening this side of the chain, you're getting your baby C, your hook. Nice and easy on that. But when you've sharpened the other side of the chain, that baby C, I have to adjust it to bring it down further. That, to me, is not a good sharp chain. So now I have to adjust my depth gauge again for the chain to go to the other side. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but if this was centered so that I could hit this and this tooth at the same time, just by rotating the 90 or the angle, it would be a much more useful machine. But this is something I can overcome by just adjusting my depth gauge up and down. All right, so we have to keep an eye on that, because this is not an acceptable profile to me or to anybody else. So let me put this back in. We'll see if we can correct that right now on this chain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down. I'm actually going to feed this back a little bit. Okay? Feed it back. Lower it down. Just a sketch. Relock it. Okay? Now I did that on my connecting link, not on my cutting link, to set my height. I'm going to bring it forward, lock it down, clamp it, start it, and cut again. This is all the learning curve of this machine. Much better. So maybe it was just my unfamiliarity with this machine and needing to set my depth gauge a little bit lower because I set it to the one side, I didn't set it to both sides. So I'm going to come back here, I'm going to bring it back over here to my 29 degrees, tighten it down, feed it through. I'm going to come to my next link. I'm going to check and see if my depth gauge is set correctly for both sides. And yes, it is. User error, I admit it. But we just have to go ahead and be aware that when you want a sharp chain, you have to pay attention to what you're doing. You have to know what's going on. You have to get familiar with these machines. Would I buy another one of these machines? Would I buy an Oregon or anything? Well, if I was doing this commercially.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry about that, folks. My son just gave you a kick. If I was doing this commercially, instead of as a hobby, then I would probably opt to purchase an Oregon or a commercial unit. I'm just a happy homeowner, working with what I have on a budget of, well, if peanuts was money, the elephant would have it all. Okay? I have no real budget for any of this chainsaw stuff. As a matter of fact, I even have Christopher repairing my chainsaws that I'm getting for free, or I'm purchasing cheaply.
I already fixed
So we
one.
can go ahead and keep going and keep producing our firewood.
And he broke the ripcord on one, and that's what I'm working on right now.
So, by all means, folks, pay attention to what we're doing. Pay attention to what you're doing when you're working with power equipment. Take care of it. It'll last a long time. Even these cheap pulling saws that we've got here are worth the investment that you paid. You maintain them, you keep them clean, and they will keep going for you. If you like my content, you like the fact I'm not afraid to invest a little bit of money here and there into my hobby, into my firewood and heating of the house, then please hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a nice little comment. $26 for this piece of equipment,
I'm okay.
well worth the money. Was the $40, wherever it got thrown to, for the timber tough, worth it? I am going to say no. Was the $30 for the Oregon Sure Sharp worthwhile investment? Yes, it was. I'm going to tell you the bonus to that one is, I take my truck and I go out into the woods and I'm filing and I'm cutting and bucking wood out there, and I destroy a chain. All I have to do is hook it up to my 12 volts, and I can sharpen with a grinder out in the field. Huge benefit with it still on the saw. This is meant for working on all of these. Okay, off the saw, on the bench, and this, the benefit is, this will do your standard 3/8 chain, and it will do your smaller chains. I could probably put a little bit larger of a wheel on it to do a 404 or a 1/2 inch chain, in which I have 1 or 2 of them. And no, I'm not going to part with them. So anybody looking for a 1/2 inch chain, please don't come knocking on my door. My next guess is I'm going to be dressing this stone because I want more of a point on the one leading edge and a flat, because I would like to have the ability to grind square. These wheels all come rounded over. So you have to dress your wheels to the profiles you really like. Thank you, and have a nice day. Well, folks, I just figured I'd give you an added bonus here. I know Harbor Freight won't endorse this. I'll probably hear some flack from a lot of people out there in YouTube land. But I figured, let me go ahead and teach Christopher about sharpening as well. This is, again, the Chicago Electric chain sharpener.
And I also took his glasses.
From Harbor Freight. And this is just demonstrate that it is so simple to use, it is almost child's play. But you gotta remember, still gotta be safe with it. Okay? Have a good day. Have a better week. Keep smiling and be kind. Catch you all later.